Hey, welcome to day 7 of the 90-day inclusion challenge, helping to get inclusive practice into your head, heart and hand. I only had some of the promised cat clip. I was able to do that because I had time. It's the weekend. We have a birthday in our family today. I was able to stop off for birthday brunch with a 20-cent book I got from a browse through a library book sale. All this after being able to feed the fur and scale babies and pick some flowers from the garden for the birthday boy. Later on I'll be making him some dinner and cake. So if you're a fairly typical educator, around about now you'll be thinking, who has time for these kinds of shenanigans? And that's one of the topics of today's video. How being kept time poor impacts on your ability to think, much less be inclusive. So I'm considering it one of my life missions to have inclusion be the norm in our schools. That's why I'm making these videos and sharing what I know. Here's something I know. There's no point lecturing you to ride on the inclusion train with me when you're really feeling like, I do not have time for this. Or you may be one of those educators who feels that inclusion is something that's being asked of you by the government, but it just doesn't work. I've had many teachers tell me that it isn't sustainable or possible. I'm discounting the ones who think it's not desirable. I've had other teachers tell me that the ministry tell us to be inclusive, and then they whack out a curriculum that is anything but. So here's where I want to get something really straight about inclusion. I want to tell you what it actually is. Because once you know what it is, you'll also know what it isn't, and you'll be able to reclaim space and time in your teaching life by critically appraising and discarding, covertly or otherwise, anything that is harming our children's chances at an education. The term inclusion has been hijacked and misinterpreted, worn as a party hat, so much that the committee that put together the Convention for the Rights of Persons with a Disability, the UNCRPD, the ones who gave us Article 24, which gives a right to education, these guys had to publish a general comment to make the legal obligations of signatory nations clear. So let's think about that. The UN puts out a thing saying, let's be fair about this, chaps. And a lot of countries go, yeah, fair cop, let's do that. Let's be inclusive. Then they run off and do things that might smell a little bit like inclusion, but they are not. Oh, there's a book called Inclusive Education Isn't Dead, It Just Smells Funny by Roger Slee. If you want to dive into that at any point, up to you. That can be your head part of the video. So let's return to the clarifying memo on the definition of inclusion. Forgive me for a moment while I read this slide at you. I rarely do this, but this is important. May every ear able to hear. Inclusion is a process of systematic reform embodying changes and modifications in content, teaching methods, approaches, structures and strategies in education to overcome barriers, with a vision serving to provide all students of the relevant age range with an equitable and participatory learning experience and environment that best corresponds to their requirements and preferences. You can see how that got twisted into let's put special kids into special schools, and you can also see how they keep leaving out the part where the system needs to change, and constantly, for the good of the children, not the government. Oh, side note, there were some nations that signed the treaty but then didn't ratify it, spreading some stuff about how it would undermine parental rights. Rightio. Can you see how, if you know what inclusion actually is, you can reject things that come at you wasting your damn time in the name of inclusion? Look, teachers face so many time thieves, admin paperwork, unnecessary meeting, email overload, last minute changes, tech glitches, classroom disruption, duplicated work. I'm running out of fingers. Lack of resources, prep time, playground duties. But there are governmental time sucks that particularly keep us stuck and not being able to think clearly about many things, including inclusion. We've got frequent changes to curriculum, assessment system, or reporting requirements. We've got the old initiative overload, rapid rollout of new programs, sometimes without even removing the old ones. You've got your standardized testing, data collection, your accountability and audit culture, inconsistent communication, funding restriction, underinvestment in support staff, lack of protected planning time, and just all that policy-driven paperwork. My advice, run it all through the definition of inclusion. Is that inclusive? No? Then we are resisting, my friends. Oh, by the way, there's an article on resistance and resilience that I got through Massey University. Margolis et al. They have some interesting findings on the tension between the way schools are as opposed to the ways they could or should be, and about how whether we should adapt or transform. I know which way I'm going. That's why I've had so many jobs. If you're with me, brothers and sisters, come aboard the train. There are information posters in the carriages about how you can go about this. Number 1, protect the core values. Keep inclusion as a non-negotiable anchor. Reclaim the definition of inclusion. Number 2, guard well-being. Resistance requires stamina. Teachers advocating for inclusion need to be deliberate about boundaries, when to switch off your email, when enough is enough on admin tasks, so that your best energy goes into learners, not bureaucracy. Give as much energy to rack-ups as politicians do. My partner was telling me how he goes on Facebook and puts an angry face on the self-aggrandizing statements on a particular politician who says she's proud of the cuts that she's made to the disability sector. Not naming any names. Consider this, it took her a few minutes to type out those absurdities. So he's taking a few seconds to publicly tell her what he thinks, doing his part and turning the tide of the comment section. So now it's a place where other people feel okay about resisting too. So there's lots of angries and cries on her posts these days. Just saying, she can turn off the comments, but she can't undo the angries. Point 3, work collectively, not alone. Join or form small teacher networks, formally or informally, where inclusion is a shared value. Room B, room B, room B, room B. You can share planning and resources so no one's reinventing the wheel. Room B, room B, room B. Number 4, streamline the non-negotiables. Where compliance is required, data entry, reporting, find the quickest, simplest path that meets the letter but doesn't drain your energy. Here's a big one. Resist the temptation to perfect documentation that's only for internal eyes. That saved brain space can be redirected to our students and thinking about how you're going to be inclusive. Number 5, use micro acts of inclusion. Even when big inclusive projects feel squeezed out, you can do small things like choice of text, flexible grouping, allowing alternative forms of response. So you're keeping inclusion alive in daily practice. So this sort of stuff doesn't need to have permission and official sanction and can be woven into mandated lessons. Number 6, advocate strategically. Pick a small number of high advocacy points and bring them up as consistently as you can in places that have to hear you. I mean, if you're required to be in a meeting, they're required to hear what you say in that meeting that you're required to be at. This helps avoid being spread thin across every policy battle there is. Oh, this bit is for streamlining as well. So if they're going to take 5 minutes to ChatGPT a curriculum for us, so I've heard, then we can take 5 minutes to use ChatGPT to have a response to their lesson. Inclusive practice for this particular boring activity. Thank you, ChatGPT. So in short, resistance doesn't have to look like saying no outright. It's about protecting your mental bandwidth for the things and the people that matter most, finding the fastest way through what doesn't, and keeping inclusion visible in small and large ways. Feeling fired up? I personally am going off to spend some time with my family and to sing happy birthday. I hope you too take some time to stop and smell the flowers. Long live the revolution.